Welcome to our fourth featured author chat for the 2023 Lamb Summer Reading Challenge. I hope you're all enjoying the reading challenge. You've got 1 week left to finish up your category read. So, in the words of, or in the paraphrase of Dory, just keep reading, just keep reading. If you have any questions about the challenge or need the link to the category post on Facebook, replay links for amazing chats like this, RSVP links for the ones that are coming, or anything else related to the challenge and how it works, just head over to www.joyerankatori.com/summer-reading. And now I am thrilled to welcome my sweet friend, Alina Rubin, author of the 2022 Illinois Indie Author Project winner, A Girl with a Knife. Welcome, Alina, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I am super excited to talk to you today, and I'm also excited to remind everybody that Alina will be giving away an autographed copy of A Girl with a Knife. So for chances to win that, be sure to comment on our 4 Facebook posts so far this past week. Comment on this video if you're watching the replay. Make sure that you're commenting on that so I can give you your points. And do all that by noon tomorrow, which will be July 23rd. Okay? So now we're going to dive right into our chat because I cannot wait to ask Alina some questions and get to know a little bit more. So would you first kind of start us off by introducing yourself and tell us a little bit more about the book that you're giving away?
Absolutely. So my name is Alina Rubin. And this is a book, A Girl with a Knife, and that's my very first book. I did not really think a lot, did not growing up thinking I'm going to be a writer one day. I finished my degree in IT quite a few years ago, and I've been in IT for 20 years, got a master's in business. And it was during the pandemic when I kind of had a little more time. I started watching historical fiction series. A lot of people were watching a lot more Netflix and Prime during that time, and so did I. And somehow I started getting ideas in my head, about different characters. Like I would watch an episode, I'm like, oh, well, if, kind of rethinking it in my way, with the characters. And somehow I came up with this character I really liked, and it should be a young woman who is a doctor, and whenever somebody is very sick or wounded, she would be kind of save the day, save her friends. And I started kind of coming up with some stories about her. And just one morning, I kind of woke up with this kind of strange feeling and kind of said, I think something is telling me I'm supposed to be writing. And I sat down to write, and I just got this feeling, oh my God, it's making me so happy. I don't know why I never even thought about writing, but it's just making me absolutely like happiest, feeling ever. So I created my first manuscript. This is adventures about my young woman doctor, and I didn't know what to do next with it. So I found some Facebook groups for authors and asked, okay, I have this manuscript. I have no idea what to do next. And somebody said, okay, I'm a writer. I can be a beta reader. I can give you some opinion about it. And this happened to be a woman from Australia. And so I'm like, oh my God, somebody all the way from Australia is going to read my book. So I sent her my manuscript. And then somebody else said, you need to look into self-publishing and look for an editor. And I kind of scrolled through the post, and I saw a post from an editor. She said, hi, I just helped an 82-year-old woman, writing for the first time to publish her first book. And if she can do it, you can do it. Well, yeah, I probably need somebody like that to help me. So we connected. She turned out to be from Scotland. And I thought, well, that's great because my book is based in England and I've never been there. So she can maybe point out some things that I might have missed in my research. So I sent her a manuscript. And so for like a couple of weeks, I was nervous, what are they going to say? And first I heard from my beta reader from Australia. She said, okay, I see you really enjoyed this process. I feel kind of feel your excitement. But here's a problem. You're writing about the time where women cannot be doctors. And you already have this main character, and she's somehow a brilliant doctor. So how did that happen? And you can't just say she somehow made it through medical school. Because people are not going to believe that. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, I really didn't think of that. I kind of thought, well, if it's fiction, I can make anything I want up. And she's like, no, it really needs to be believable, especially in historical fiction. And then my editor sent me back a letter. So she very nicely said, I don't think you're ready right now for a professional edit. You need to take more time to polish your manuscript, to work with beta readers to straighten your story, and take some classes, read some books on craft, and then I would happy to work with you. So that was kind of a disappointment, but I decided to look at it as an opportunity. And so I kind of rethought, how can I have this character go to medical school in 19th century England? And I realized, well, maybe one of the ways that could happen if she disguises herself as a young man. And I read a book about a person who did just that, James Barrie. So I thought, well, this is a kind of a path I can follow, at least in the beginning. So that's kind of how the idea for A Girl with a Knife was born. And as I was writing it, I was taking online classes and reading books on how to write. And so when I came back, I think 5 months later or so, to my beta reader and to editor, then their response was completely different. They were like, "Oh my God, this is exciting! This is a good book!" And we finished working on that book.
That's amazing. So I love a couple of things in this. I love how you come from kind of a different background,
Mhm.
and that's just fantastic to me. I love that this was a good thing that came out of the pandemic. And also how fantastic are those two, the writer and the editor, to like
Yeah.
say, "Hey, look, we'll be here, but here's what you need to do." And you
Mhm.
didn't let that hold you back, or it didn't scare you away, and that's so fantastic. And then only 5 months later, wow, that is incredible. I am in awe of you.
Yeah, when my editor told me to set the date for the publishing, I kind of looked at my calendar. I found my diary entry of the day, the first day I started writing, and I set a date. It was exactly a year since the day I started writing. I was releasing my first book.
Wow, that is amazing. So now speaking of that, so this is your first Hearts and Sales book, and you just released the second one, in addition to your prequel. So
Yeah, there's a
tell
prequel to
us
now.
about the series. Like, do you have more in the series planned? Do you have something completely separate from the series planned? Tell us about all of that.
Sure. So definitely the series is going to continue. There's a lot more Ella can do. And actually, the prequel is kind of interesting. It starts out with things that are happening before the series, but then it also gives you a preview of what's going to happen in the third book. But see, there's you see like a woman's hand and a boy's hand. So that's Ella, and that's Jamie. So Jamie is going to come out in the third book. So he's going to be her friend, and he is captured by the French, and she's going to look for him. So that's my premise for book 3, which I'm hoping to write next year. Now, the book I'm working on now, that's a spin-off. So in A Girl with a Knife, there's a character there for just a very short while. Her name is Abigail, and so my book is called Abigail's Song. So Abigail, all we know about her, she's a little orphan. She, Ella and Ollie save her, and Ollie's family adopts her. That's really all we find out about her in A Girl with a Knife. It's kind of a nice Christmas chapter there. But I wanted to kind of figure out her story, what happens to her more. It started as an idea for a short novella, a reader magnet, and right now it's a full novel. Right now I'm working on a second draft and hoping to release it like early January, maybe next year. So that's a spin-off Abigail Song.
I love that. And I've done something similar with my characters because I ended up falling in love with like my secondary characters. And that's really where the book that I released earlier this year, that's really what that came from. It's short
Mhm,
stories that tell the backstories of these other characters. That's such
mhm,
a fun thing, I think.
mhm.
Do you
Yeah.
have any of your other secondary characters that you think might potentially have their own stories to tell?
I made a list actually. I don't know which ones of them I'm gonna write, but I just sit down and I think I have like 15 of them that potential, that could be a story, could be a novella or even a full novel.
That's awesome. Oh, goodness. Okay, so let's see. I'm looking at my questions here. Oh, yes, I'm curious about this. Do you have anyone in your family's past who was a doctor or a woman who defied her time's rules?
Yeah, I don't really have doctors in my family, but my grandma. during World War II, she was 17 and she became a nursing assistant in a field hospital. So maybe it's, and I mean, so she told me it was a very scary time. And only 17, she had no medical background. She was just supposed to start, nursing school, college, and they sent her immediately to the front. She was basically doing errands for what the, more experienced nurses told her to do. Again, she's alone without her family. So I get, but at the time, said a lot of people, like there were a lot of girls doing the same thing. So they were kind of banding together, helping out each other. So maybe this is a kind of inspiration from her, taking a young woman who was, completely out of her element, just kind of finding her way, and helping others.
That's really cool, man. That's an interesting story right there
Mhm.
in itself. Wow. So you, of course, did a lot of research for this book, which historical fiction requires a lot of research. So could you share either the most surprising thing you discovered or something that you read about that isn't in the book but might have inspired a future book or just got you thinking about something?
Yeah. There's so many things surprising because I thought, well, 19th century, they probably had chloroform. They probably knew to work the instruments. They learned about the germ theory. But then I realized, yes, that happened in like 1850s or 1860s. But if I want to start with the Napoleonic Wars, the beginning of the century, those things have not been there yet. Surgery was without anesthesia, and they had no idea that they need to wash their hands or clean their instruments. So it was, I guess, it was surprising and shocking to me. I had no idea how can write. I had to wrap my mind around, a scene where there be an amputation and the poor patient is not going to get any anesthesia. It took me like several attempts to write it that, and sometimes I almost wonder, like, what if my character learned, what if she is like so smart she decides that she needs to wash her hands or something like that. But then I kind of like, no, we need to show this time how it's supposed to be. Uh, to me, I guess there was a lot of it's interesting stories how different things were invented. Like in the second book, I have a story about the forceps, to deliver a baby. That instrument was secret. Like the doctors would not tell other doctors about it. It was invented by this Chamberlain family. They kept it as a family secret and would not let the medical world know about it so they could profit. And especially they didn't want midwives to use it. Even when it kind of became a more well known, it became a law for just only physicians and surgeons, registered, who do it, and not the female midwives. So there was kind of that kind of shock that even when something good was invented, people did not have access to that.
That's
Yeah.
crazy, and
Mhm.
it's interesting because I didn't know any of that until I read your book.
Mhm.
That's one of my favorite things, honestly, about reading historical fiction is, like, to get those little nuggets, and then,
Mhm.
like, you have in the back of your book, your author's note, you kinda talk about some of the facts and the things like that, which is
Mhm.
wonderful, and I just think that that's fantastic for readers to be able to enjoy this lovely story, but to also be learning something that we didn't know before.
Mhm.
So, that's incredible. So, what has been the most amazing experience for you because of your first book?
I feel like almost can be any day something happens when I get an email from a book club of somewhere from another country, like, oh, when is your next book coming? I'm like, oh my god, can we zoom together? When it comes, I'd like to be in your book club in Sweden. Yeah, or if I see there's a sale came from Brazil, I'm like, oh my god, somebody in Brazil bought my book. But
That's so
I love
sweet.
talking to readers. Any experience when I'm at the local library or at some local market and I meet somebody who's read my books or is interested in my book and wants to know more about it, to me it's always very exciting. I love to come out to the libraries to talk to people. Yeah, and
Yeah.
getting the award was amazing. We had the state senator come out to the library to give it to me. That was just incredible. And going to the ALA, the American Library Association convention, where we met Annie and other authors that have been on this program. That was just also another amazing experience. Thanks to writing and thanks to publishing.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it's so funny how the world, of course, is huge, but it really is so small. Because, like you're saying, the writer from Australia, the editor from Scotland, Sweden, Brazil, like it's thanks to the internet, things really are smaller, and it's amazing the
Mhm.
reach that authors can have. It's just incredible.
And people are so supportive. It's just incredible.
Mhm.
When I started writing about the ships, I'm like, I really need more knowledge about this area. I never sailed. So I found a gentleman. Like, he used to live in Britain. Now he's in Sweden. He worked in the British Naval Museum for like 20 years. So he
Oh,
was a
wow.
huge help. And so we connected because we're both writers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. And I honestly, like, the research, I adore the research. Like, so I know some people aren't so thrilled with that, but
Mhm.
I think it's so much fun. All of these things, learning about the past, learning and finding amazing people like that who are
Mhm.
willing to share.
Right.
It's incredible. Well, okay, so I have a few questions for you. We're going to switch to thinking about reading. So, as a reader, um, do you have any special memories of summer reading when you were a kid?
I not so much as I mean, I know I was reading a lot as a kid. Some reading, like if I'm trying to visualize myself on the beach. I remember I was probably a junior in high school, and I was reading Crime and Punishment on the beach,
Oh,
and somebody I forget who she was, somebody, a friend of a friend, so she was like, "You, why are you reading this? Where's romance? Where's fantasy? You're the strangest girl I know."
that's great. I think that was like like a little sign of one day this is going to be a historical fiction author. That's
Right.
fantastic. So, what are you currently reading?
I'm reading Seawolf by Jack London. Actually, I mean, this is kind of like rotation of the books I'm gonna read. So right now I'm on my classics rotation. So I'm reading Jack London. I'm always reading something about writing. So my current book is something like the archetypes of characters. It's kind of complicated book. I know what I'm going to read next. I'm going to read The Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. I was trying to read that for a while. Um, and I'm a judge in a short story contest, so I'm reading a lot of short stories right now that I'm judging.
Exciting.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Yes, I love Jack London. Jack London is actually one of my favorites.
Oh,
So
great.
it's
Yeah.
been a long time since I've read that one. I might need to reread
Yeah.
it.
It's been a long time for me. Like I don't think I opened his book since high school. I decided I'm gonna have a make sure that I go back to some classics as I read.
Yeah. So I'm curious, what authors and books inspire you? I know you mentioned like a Netflix series, like that was kind of
Mhm.
an inspiration
Yeah.
when you first started writing, but are there any particular books or authors that really inspire you?
I love Philippa Gregory. So that's Tutors, the Kings. So just beautiful writing, and to me, and all the research she does, and then how she just makes choices and makes the story her own. I love Tracy Chevalier, just beautiful language. Joanna Harris, yeah, all those others, just great stories and just beautiful writing.
Is there a particular book of theirs that you would like recommend to someone?
Um, Joanna Harris, I love the chocolate, that series,
Okay.
the chocolate. Tracy Chevalier, oh my god, everything. She had this beautiful book. I think it's called Remarkable Creatures. It's about Annie Lamont, I think is her name. So she's this woman finding fossils, like the first woman anthropologist in
Oh,
England.
wow.
Yeah.
That sounds really good. Ah,
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to add those to my list because those sound fantastic. So before I kind of have you share where people can find you and stuff like that, is there anything else that you would like to talk about or tell about your books or anything?
Sure, absolutely. So I hope you check out my books. This book, so this is just came out on Amazon this morning, so it's brand new.
Oh,
I don't see.
wow.
I just have the proof, not even the real book yet. So that's brand new, and it is a print book, but you can get it for free also. For free as an ebook if you're an ebook reader. I think you've shared like the book funnel. link. So please download it. That's probably the easiest and fastest way to get to know my writing is, without spending. And A Girl with a Knife. If you love ebooks, which many people do, it's free on if you have Amazon Prime. So you can get this book for free and get into this series. And I hope you'll enjoy and want to keep following my characters to next books.
Yes, and I guarantee you will. I love your books. I've read books 1 and 2. I have not read the prequel yet, but honestly, and I have because I'm on your newsletter, and so I have the ebook, but I prefer print, so I am very excited about that. I am
Good. Excellent.
going on to Amazon very soon. That's outstanding. Well, tell people where they can follow you, where they can find you, and I will have the link for the download as well. I'll have that in the post and everything.
Absolutely. So if you download that book, you will become part of my newsletter, which is a great way to follow me. You'll get updates from me monthly. You can also go to alinarubinauthor.com and sign up for the newsletter there. You can also check out my blog posts there and any news and stories. And if you on social media, you can find me on Facebook and on Instagram.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us. And tomorrow, so everybody knows, tomorrow I will announce the winner of the autographed copy of A Girl with a Knife. I'll do that on my Facebook page. So if you're not already following the fun there, please do so. Just search Joy E. Rancatory on Facebook. That's where I am. And Monday starts our final week. Oh my goodness. Of the 2023 Lamb Summer Reading Challenge. I can't believe we're already at the end. But we are ending things with a bang. So we've got one more featured author, and we are also having our summer reading wind down, which I'm very excited about. Alina will be back with us along with our other featured authors and a couple of favorites from previous summers. So we will be announcing the 2 grand prize winners. We'll have another book swag prize pack to give away. I'm always surprised when I say that, right? So that is what is coming up. And thank you again, Alina, so much for joining us and sharing about your amazing books.
Thank you so much for having me.
Everyone, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you soon. Happy reading.
Joy, happy reading.